Welcome to Guns 101, our video welcome message for new gun owners, brought to you by the Self-Defense Radio Network. I'm Rob Morris from Self-Defense Gun Stories. My partners are Amanda Suffolcool from Eye on the Target Radio, and the guy behind the curtain doing the heavy lifting is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. We're very fortunate to have one of my instructors with us, Brian Hill from the Complete Combatant. Brian, millions of people took this plastic box home, and now they have to be safe with it. Unfortunately, due to the quarantine, they're not in your classes yet. What do they need to know?
You know, one of the biggest things, and I want to welcome them to the community. We're so glad that they've joined our community. Is how do we take care of this firearm? Where do we put it? How do we store it? One of the biggest anti-gun arguments is that our firearms are often accessed by unauthorized people. That could mean criminals, could mean children, or it could be somebody who has mental health problems. So we need to be safe with these guns, and they need to be in a place where you can control them. So if we think about how people get access to them, simply putting it into a drawer or leaving it in your car or sticking it under the bed or putting it on a top shelf was probably not a good place for you to leave it, because people can get a hold of it. If you never have anybody come into your house, you never have children in your house, and you don't have anybody that works in your house, maybe you could do that. But for us, it's probably better if we buy some sort of safety storage container that we could put the gun into that locks and would hold the gun perfectly. The other side of that is if we're carrying it ourselves, we also need some sort of safety container. We call that a holster. A holster needs to be able to control the gun. It protects the trigger guard so that it can't be accessed by anything. It also makes sure that it stays on your body and doesn't fall out during vigorous activity. And if somebody came along and saw it, or it wasn't concealed and they were able to access it, they wouldn't easily get it away from your body. So that's another safety storage that sometimes new gun owners don't think about. You know, you're so excited to get this new thing, but you're also you're full of trepidation about it. And then you go to Walmart and look at the holster selection and the gun container selection. It's really hard to make a good decision there. You just don't know what is going to be appropriate for you. Large retail stores make one-size-fit-all choices, and they try to appeal to the most buyers, which means it's the biggest compromise ever in controlling and being safe with that gun. If you have children in your house, they will want to gravitate to things they're told not to touch. So part of safety is familiarizing the whole family with how you're going to store this gun, where it's going to be, how to be accessible to you. A good way, you know, for me, I have a safe. I have grandkids. You know, those grandkids are the most important people on the earth to me. And when they come home, we do a sweep through the house and make sure the house is clear, and we put those guns up so those curious little boys can't find a way to get to them. And that's the biggest part of safety when we first start. Don't just put it in a sock drawer and forget about it. Of course, we want to have it in a way that we could access it in an emergency. But there's a lot of great options in the world now, and you want to have a good holster. A good holster is really important for you to carry it safely. Something that's not flimsy and collapsible. We want something that's made out of Kydex or leather, not nylon that easily compresses. And that way we have a good, you know, that to me is gun control. That's the best way to control it and to keep it in safe. You know, leaving it in your gun, especially if you put advertising stickers on there, puts you in a lot of danger, because these things select you for people coming after it. So have something to secure it, lock it down, and make sure it's accessible to you and you only, whether it's through a holster or whether it's through a safe. And that's one of the first steps in controlling and storing your weapon and learning good gun safety.
So if somebody's looking for a holster specifically for their gun, how do they shop for that? I mean, because you mentioned the big box store, and you could go in and you can find a nylon holster, and it'll fit every revolver, well, bar some. You know, is that a good choice? Because then I'm sure it'll fit.
Yeah. Well, you know, the problem is the more we compromise something, the more it fits general models, but it does nothing completely well. That's the problem with hybrid solutions. This fits everything, but it does nothing well. And how does a new gun owner have access to quality equipment? Where do they find this information? I would say it would be on the internet, but my Lord, you're going to end up in all sorts of people giving you their opinion and what they love and their favorite holster.
Right.
You have got, you know, as anything in life, you've got to find a consultant for you that you trust, an advisor that you trust. And it needs somebody who has real experience in life. Not just somebody who likes to do it, but somebody who's spent a lot of time. For me, you know, I'm on the range all the time. I was kind of doing the math. I probably see somewhere in the neighborhood of 500,000 to 1 million rounds go down range every year. That's a lot of rounds. I see a lot of different holsters. I see what really works and what doesn't. So find yourself somebody that you can consult with. And if they don't know, they should be able to refer you to somebody else. It's like in anything we do, we want to find that trusted advisor that has no personal stake in it, but wants you to succeed because we want you to be a part of our community. We want you to be welcome in here and we want you to feel safe and secure. And if you have any question, we're here to help you. So I would start with a good advisor, and then they'll because I know all you guys have got a box full of holsters like I do that don't work. So it's okay to make the mistakes.
It is. I tell everybody, you buy the first holster based on price, you buy the second holster based on comfort, and you learn that, guess what? If your gun falls out of your holster, it's a really bad thing. And most of the time when your gun is in its biggest jeopardy is either when you really need it, like somebody's knocked you down, kicked you, done one of those, or when you are using the bathroom.
Right.
And if your gun takes a flying leap, what are you going to do when you can't leave it wherever it just landed, even if it got wet? Right. So a good quality holster is part of that decision. So how does somebody know that the holster that they picked is good for them? I mean, is there a test? Is there something that they can do?
Yeah, I have a SIRT pistol here. This is a non-functioning firearm. It's just a plastic trainer that we use. The first thing you want to do is put it in the holster and give it a shake over something soft like a pillow. It shouldn't slide out of the holster. Almost all of them have some sort of retention on it. And you would have to think, if I was upside down, and you think, well, when would I be upside down? But if you're in a car wreck, you may very well end up upside down or on your side. If you're in a fight, you may be knocked down. So that gun should be retained by the holster. This whole area should be covered so that nothing can get in there and nothing can access it. Now, a lot of times we want retention things, but I would strongly avoid using a holster that makes you use the trigger finger to release anything near the trigger, because that's very dangerous for us. And it shouldn't collapse. If it collapses when you go to put the gun back in, what we see everybody doing is trying to pry it apart. And then, of course, you're covering your own hand with the gun. So those are some things you really want to look to. How does it attach to your belt? That's a really... Oh, my God.
We almost lost you.
No, we did.
Okay, and Brian's name's got two I's in Brian.
All right, I'm back. I got a phone call right in the middle of that. You guys got me?
Yep. Paul, how are we doing? What do we do? Okay.
Cool. So anyway, how does it attach to your belt? That's the big question. You can get loops. You can get clips. There's some things that work very well. Discrete carry clips make some fantastic ones. Those things work so well, I can't get them off my belt. They are so strong. I've never met anything like this. Like, I could take my belt off and it grabs my jeans and then I can't get them off my jeans. And you're getting this information from a guy who does a lot of force on force and turns people upside down and rolls them on the floor and sees their guns flip out and fall out. And then high-speed classes with a lot of draws. So you want to have some way that really secures it to the belt. And then the belt is just as important as the holster. I think that was probably a hardest lesson for most of us, is you have to have a good belt to hold the gun to that fits you well and holds it close to your body. So those are all things you're going to look at in securing the gun to your body and having a good holster.
Wow. Safety, security, securing your gun. That all makes so much sense. So Brian Hill from the Complete Combatant, thecompletecombatant.com. Check out his website. And oh, by the way, he's doing a couple different Guns 101 videos. So go look for those too.